Businesses right now are playing a game of chicken with AI. Everyone wants to automate as much as possible, and automating, of course, means taking decisions away from humans and handing them to AI. But AI makes mistakes, and what's more, it's overconfident and careless in ways that humans aren't. And yet, not using AI to make your business more efficient isn't really an option when all your competitors are. So the real question isn't whether to automate with AI, it's what parts of your business processes should AI handle, and in what parts do we need a human in the loop. In this video, I'm going to explain what human in the loop is, what it looks like in practice, and give you a simple framework for understanding exactly where you can let AI run free and where you need a human holding the leash. Let's start with a real-world example. This is Marcus. He's a sales rep at a supplier for food safety equipment. Think hairpins, disposable gloves, cleaning chemicals. He sells to food manufacturers like restaurants and hospitals. And every day, Marcus's inbox is filled up with custom emails asking for things like 2 cartons of the usual gloves. His job is to translate these vague requests into actual orders, figure out which items in the product catalog the customers are even talking about, and submit the final order into the warehouse for dispatch. Now, it's repetitive work, and it's exactly the kind of thing that AI is great at. Reading informal, often vague text and matching it to structured data, like a product catalog. But there's a risk. If the AI gets it wrong, that's cartons of supplies arriving on a customer's doorstep that they didn't want. You'll be organizing a retrieval, a refund, maybe shipping a replacement. It's a headache. So Marcus's company does nothing. It feels too risky. So for now, they'd rather just eat the costs of having Marcus do it all by hand. But of course, they don't have to hand off everything to AI. They could put a human in the loop. So it works like this. Instead of Marcus checking his email box each morning, we get the AI to do it. The AI just looks for any emails that sound like orders from customers. It pulls out the requested items and it matches them to each of the actual product codes in the supplier's product catalog. The AI can even look at a customer's purchase history. So when the customer asks for the usual gloves, the AI actually knows which ones the customer is talking about. And then all Marcus has to do is review each order draft. He loads up a dashboard where he can see the original email and the draft order side by side just to spot check any mistakes, make any edits, and then hit approve. So what previously took him an hour each day now takes less than 10 minutes. That's it. There is a loop. The trick here is that we have the AI doing the tedious part, and it's the part that it often does better at than Marcus, sorry Marcus, because it's faster and it never gets tired. But that raises an obvious question. If the AI drafts almost every order perfectly, do we really need Marcus to look at every single one? Marcus's time is valuable. We ought to put him in the loop only when he's really needed. We can do this by making a simple tweak to our system, which we call confidence routing. The idea is that instead of the AI just drafting the order, we also ask it to tell us how sure it is that it's done so correctly. Now, every line item on the order has a confidence score associated with it. High confidence is when a request could only reasonably correspond with one product in the catalog. But when the customer asks for that degreaser from last time, and they've purchased 3 degreasers in the past 6 months, well, that line item would have a low confidence. And now we can set a simple rule. If every line on the order is made with high confidence, the order goes straight through, no human involved. Otherwise, the whole order drops into this review queue for a human to look at. So Marcus isn't reviewing 20 orders a morning anymore. He's reviewing 1 or 2 genuinely ambiguous ones, the ones that are actually worth his attention and where he might have some human intuition about what they mean. 2 things worth knowing about how this works under the hood, because it's probably simpler than you would expect. First, where do these confidence rules actually come from? Well, we just write them into the AI's instructions in plain English. That's it. Second, you can stack plain old business logic on top of all of this for more robust protections for when things go wrong. Things like any order that's over $1,000 always requires human approval, no matter how confident the AI is. Now, if this approach sounds familiar, it should. It's exactly how every team already operates, right? A good employee doesn't ask the manager about every routine task. They handle the routine stuff themselves and escalate when something's unusual, ambiguous, or just big. And that's all confidence routing is. It's giving AI the same instructions you'd give a new hire. Act within these guardrails, and when you're not sure, ask me. Now, our examples so far have been about yes or no decisions, approve the order or don't approve the order, but a lot of real work isn't like that. What about tasks that are more back and forth? Take writing a client proposal. This is something the AI can genuinely do well if you set it up right. Have it start from a template, give it instructions on style and content, notes from the sales call. It'll produce a solid first draft. But a proposal isn't an approve or reject kind of decision. The first draft is never the final draft, no matter who wrote it. Instead, we'd have the AI draft that full proposal before handing off to a human, who then reads it and stares, because maybe they have to tighten the summary, so they ask the AI to do that bit, or maybe the pricing isn't quite right, so they need to manually edit some things. They have a follow-up call with the client, and they ask the AI to implement some new decisions from that call into that proposal. And again, what they're doing here is having AI do the grunt work, but the human is always in charge. And if this feels familiar as well, it's because it is. It's exactly what you're already doing every time you have a conversation with ChatGPT or Claude, right? That conversation is human in the loop. You just may not have thought of it as something that you could embed into a business workflow intentionally. So the lesson here is human in the loop is not only about yes or no decisions. Sometimes the human's job is to just get in there and give the direction to the AI right in the middle of it doing some task. So you've now got 3 patterns to think about: approval, confidence routing, and steering. And each one intentionally places human bottlenecks into the right workflows, which leaves a big question. How do you decide which processes need these bottlenecks? Here's the simplest way that I know to think about this. So to begin, you're only going to automate tasks at all where you're confident the AI will get things right reliably, right? AI is non-deterministic, so it's got some randomness about the way that it produces an output. So you have to assume then that at least occasionally it'll get things wrong. So the real question isn't really, will it get things wrong? It's, what will it cost me when it does? Let's take our order taking workflow. We already discussed the cost of the AI approving incorrect orders earlier on. There's a whole basket of unintended costs here, time and money. So when a human reviewing a queue of draft orders takes maybe an hour a week, one bad order might cost more than that just on its own. So when the cost of the AI being wrong is high, we put a human in the loop whose only purpose really is to reduce the chances of a wrong decision being made. Now, let's take another example. You've got an AI that ranks your incoming leads, so your most promising ones are at the top of the list. And sometimes that AI ranks, a mediocre lead above a good lead. And what's the cost there? The good lead maybe gets a call on Tuesday instead of Monday. Nothing bad actually happened. You were always going to call them. It's just that that ranking order was slightly off. So here, paying a human to double check every ranking order costs more than the occasional lead having to wait an extra day for a call. So to summarize all of this, the simple question that you ask yourself when you're thinking about automating some decision with AI is, what does it cost me if the AI gets this wrong? And if you ask that question of every process in your business, then the map of where to put these human bottlenecks in the process basically draws itself. So here's what I want to leave you with. You were never actually choosing between trust the AI or do everything manually. What you're really doing is deciding where do you add human accountability into an automated system? Because the AI can do a lot of pre-work, but humans need to sit at those points where mistakes are costly. And if you want to figure out which of your processes to start automating with AI, that's exactly what we help businesses do. Link to our website is in the description. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video.